Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's expert webinar titled Microsoft Azure AD Entra ID. I am Abhishek from SpringPeople. We are India's largest enterprise training provider. I will be your moderator for today's session. In today's session, we have Mr. Sanjay Sarda with us, our esteemed trainer, a seasoned expert with nearly 25 years of rich and diverse experience in the dynamic fields of product engineering, application development, application security, corporate training, and DevOps. His career is marked by significant achievements, demonstrating his exceptional capabilities in technology and leadership. When it comes to technical skills, Sanjay boasts a comprehensive toolkit that covers a wide array of technologies. His proficiency extends to a range of cloud platforms, including AWS, Azure, GCP, and Verizon Cloud. Moreover, his expertise extends to various DevOps tools and practices, including Chef, Jenkins, Bamboo, Bitbucket, Ansible, and APM. His diverse skill set and leadership experience make him a valuable asset for any organization or individual seeking to thrive in the ever-evolving tech landscape. In today's webinar, Sanjay Sarda will let us know about Introduction to Microsoft Entra ID, Multi-Factor Authentication (MFA), and Application Integration Overview. To all the participants, you can mention your questions in the chat box and it will be answered at the end of the session. Without further ado, let's start today's session. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Sarda to start the session. Over to you, Mr. Sarda.
Thanks, Abhishek, for that quick introduction. And thanks to SpringPeople for giving the opportunity here to share the latest of the Microsoft changes which they have brought in from Microsoft Azure AD to the new name, the Entra, Microsoft Entra and Microsoft Entra ID. So as part of today's sessions, we'll cover the introduction part of what is Microsoft Entra ID, what features it has, what kind of things they have brought in from the existing features. Some things they have enhanced. So wanted to cover those things aspect and importance of why Entra ID is used overall in the industry. Then I will take you through the some of the demos of how to manage, how to create users, what kind of groups we can create, what kind of roles are available, what is multi-factor authentication, so how you can do that, and application integration overview. I will give that. So let's move to the next slide. So when you look into the Microsoft Entra, so it is a cloud-based identity and access management, which Microsoft is providing as part of Azure, and apart from that, it is also providing it as a separate. If you are subscribing to Microsoft 365, then also you get this as bundled along with Microsoft 365. So Entra ID can be used to manage the identities and access management. So we'll cover what kind of identities and access management and what is the importance of identities. So and it can be used on cloud or in your corporate intranet, and you can have cloud apps which are developed internally or the third-party integrations you can do. So Microsoft Entra. So why it becomes important and what all features it is bringing in. So it is having Azure Active Directory as one of the component, and it is bundled with Entra permission management. So that is additional to the Azure Active Directory. And then Microsoft Entra verified IDs, how the IDs can be verified and how it can be integrated with the Microsoft Entra. So that is another additional features which are added. And then identity governance and monitoring of the identities, both the workloads and apart from that, the workloads management also is part of Microsoft Entra. So all these bundled together is part of Microsoft Entra. So what is, before we get into the management of identities, we should understand what is an identity. So as the digital landscape is growing, you understand like we are using multiple devices, we are using multiple applications, and it is throwing a different challenge. The identities are a human resource is identity, a email address is identity, your bank account number, your government ID, all these are becoming the identities of a person. So by which a resource can be identified. But when it comes to the digital landscape, we need to manage these IDs in an effective manner. So that's where it throws up a different challenge, and Microsoft Entra ID provides us a beautiful way to manage it. So when it comes to digital identities, you can see human identities, as I described, that is one thing. And with the challenges, we are going to also have the workload identities. When I say workload identities, within cloud or other than cloud, you will have some jobs and other things running. That also is part of the identity management. Then the devices which we are using, the computer, mobiles, which are provided by companies, or now bring your own devices there. So you can bring your own devices. That also is to manage in a secured environment. So all this can be done using Entra. The next level of challenges comes with sensors, which are across the board. So those also has to manage, because you have these things deployed across the globe, and for a application or for a enterprise, they may have to manage all these devices also. So those also can be managed using Microsoft Entra. So identities and management of identities are part of Microsoft Entra. It provides a seamless management of all these identities, the way I have described it. So when it comes to identities, the primary focus is on how the identity can be authenticated. So how to prove that it is a genuine identity which is coming in, and then what kind of permissions we have to give to that identity, because we can't give each and every permission to everyone. There can be guest users, there can be different when it comes to devices, they may have only access to certain applications. So what kind of authorizations we have to give, and then auditing of these identity. Whenever we are giving the identity, if you want to go back and check what this person has done, or what kind of jobs have run, or which devices are used, when they were used. So this provides a auditing mechanism, also reporting and auditing, and then overall administration of the identities are important, and that's what can be done using Microsoft Entra. So this is what brings out the main or major focus area, like is identity and access management, which is if you come into industry, if you are doing any admin role, then you will be seeing that you will be using this day in and day out of identity and access management. In earlier days, we used to have a challenges of provisioning those identities when we were on-prem. I can say 20 years back, Windows servers was used. They came with this identity management, and from then onwards, it got evolved. And today we are into the cloud era where we can have this Microsoft Entra. So identity management is becoming an important part. There are other service providers also which are also giving similar kind of features like ForgeRock, Ping Identity, and so on and so forth. There are other industry players, including AWS Cognito. So there are many others also are there, but Microsoft is another leader in this area. So when it comes to access and access management, it becomes very seamless because most of the organizations, enterprise, they may be having subscription to Microsoft Office and Microsoft Office or Microsoft 365. So along with that, other either they can integrate it with their on-prem or with the existing identity management system what they have, or they can use the Microsoft Entra. So it provides different many features where you can have the access control limitations, and then the way I have described, you can have the identity management, user authentications, and uh, authorizations of users, whether they are internal users or you can have the external users, the third-party user, you can integrate them also. I will cover these things in the subsequent slides. So when it comes to protection of the environment with the in the present world, when we are seeing that different security challenges are coming in and various kind of attacks are happening, then it becomes more important to manage the identities in the right way. You might be seeing with the present challenges of generative AI, deep fake IDs are also coming in. So it adds up extra layer of to have those kind of securities available so that it helps us in managing identity. So you need to protect your access of any app or resources. Uh, we have to verify our environment whether those identities are secured or not. They are from our employees or from our partners or customers or the devices or the workloads which we are managing. We should provide only necessary access to them. It has to be very limited. Whatever is required only should be given. With the zero trust policy coming in, this becomes more important. And you should be having the customer should be having a delighted experience, or the people who are using the system, they should be having a seamless experience if they move from if they like a single sign-on. Once you log in, you can access any other applications within the same internet or the wherever it is allowed. So secure adaptive access. So when you look into the security aspect of it, um, we can provide multi-factor authentications. What kind of multi-factor authentications are available? I will share that in a minute. Then you can have conditional access configurations also. Means who can access which application. Like you can also restrict a country-based access. You can restrict a group-based access. Only say you have a developer group, they can access only the developer environment. They can't access any other environment. So you can have those kind of configuration can be done. Only production access can be limited to only certain number of people when it comes to the resources. And the same thing, it allows the country-based access also, because many countries will have their own policies and procedures to restrict the access. Um, and there are many uh, different acts which are in place. Like if you look into um, medical, the HIPAA comes as a primary this one, where only people from certain countries, if they are residing in that country, then they only can access the PI data. So those kind of things also come into picture. And you can also understand and do the behavioral analytics of the resources from where they're accessing the applications, what all things are happening, so that you understand whether they are remote, they are in-house, or they are coming from which country. You can do those activities using Microsoft Entra. So as I said in the previous slide, the multi-factor authentication. So just username and password. And there was a report a few days back, like most of the people are using 123456 and admin with 123, those kind of passwords are becoming. But to make it more secure, uh, you can use multi-factor authentications. There are different ways to achieve it, like sending a push notification. You can also have the Windows or any other security tokens. You can use those. Biometrics is another important one, which is getting used across. Most of us have the smartphones, and we use the biometrics also. So that becomes another one. Then additional features are coming in multi-factor authentications, where you can use the soft tokens or hard devices, where it will give you uh, a unique code which you can use. So you can make it more secure by using multi-factor authentications, especially based on the roles, the kind of roles or the authorizations you are providing to the users. You can add certain amount of multi-factor authentication based on the needs of the company. Going to the next level on conditional access, as I said, it can the different users actions can be there. You can have devices who are trying to use. There can be applications. They may be communicating with other applications. Then because now the APIs and other things are exposed, so those things also bring in where application to application communication also happen. And then there are real-time risk, where somebody wants to try to log in by having either manipulating a URL or other means. They want to come and get into your systems. You can have your access verified using multiple methods. It can be MFA, it can be, you can have limit the access. How you can multiple times, if somebody is trying to come in or trying to break the password, you can bring those policies of resetting the password or locking the accounts, and then you can monitor the access in your environment. Then, as I said, seamless user experience. When with all these complexities being there, still users should not see that they are not able to access the application. It becomes challenging. The user experience also matters. So you can provide a single sign-on. Once you are logged in, you can use the other applications where the authorization is given. Then if at all there are challenges, they don't have to go every time if they have forgot their password or there are other issues logging in. There should be a self-service provision should be there, how they can reset their passwords or look into where all which devices they have access to, or any other somebody else is using other devices, or their identities are stolen. So they should be able to understand that and manage their own devices. And importantly, phishing, how you can prevent the phishing from phishing. And next level of authentication is coming, which is passwordless credentials, which is the next I will say in a few quarters, you will see those things getting popularized and getting used because of passwords getting broken. So MFA is going to be there. Along with that, passwordless credentials will be the next generation thing which will be coming in. And as I said, on SSO, you can have SSO for internal in-house applications, or you can have SSO uh, with the third-party applications. So Entra provides various APIs, or some are them of inbuilt, like you can see the things which I'm showing you on the screen, like Atlassian or Dropbox, or if you see Adobe uh, or Cisco, so or a box. So Microsoft Entra provides you inbuilt APIs and other things where you can configure them easily, and then you can provide a single sign-on access. You can allow a user to use any of these applications, or you can bring any custom applications also and provide a SSO to that. So as I said, uh, you can provide a common identity, and you can manage those identities. But what about if you have already on-prem identities, and if you want to integrate that with the cloud or Microsoft Entra, you can do that. That's where it provides the features of hybrid identity, where you can have it both on-prem and it can be integrated with cloud. Like you are managing, the way I said, suppose if you're using AWS for managing all your workload, additionally you want to integrate with Microsoft 365, then also you can do that along with, because with Microsoft 365 Intra ID comes in. So you have to integrate your all the on-prem user with 365. Then these on-prem users becomes the hybrid users there. You can have seamless integration between both on-prem and the Microsoft 365 user or Intra ID. If you're having, or if you're having a multi-cloud environment, you can have these kind of features you can use, where you can sync the users between different cloud providers also. So it provides that kind of integration features. And then you can also manage both the on-prem or on cloud, different clouds. So you can have the same set of users, and you can integrate and have the syncing of any attribute changes, like password changes or any other changes, whatever you, or the authentication changes, or somebody has left the organization, you want to disable that ID. It can be done seamlessly across all the different cloud providers or different identity providers, or different identities which you are using. So that can also be achieved here. So that is efficient management of the IDs. And with new things coming up, you have to integrate with third-party providers also. So you can do that, or you can give access to the third-party providers if because of any event there, if the certain identities has to be disabled or has to be managed. So you can have those guest users also coming in to your system, or you can manage those identities also using Microsoft Entra ID. So this gives a seamless usage of the authorizations what you're doing, whether it is the resources in cloud, whether it can be application authorization, or any jobs which are running in any environment. You can manage those using Microsoft Entra. So this is what I've covered in the earlier lessons, how the cloud entities, on-prem entities can be done. So here you can see the Azure AD connector. So this is an additional component which you can use. And if you are also already having a Active Directory, and if you want to sync between these two, you can do that using Azure AD connector. You can define your own policies and frequency. You can also bring in the security aspect also. You can use the Microsoft Defender and other things also coming into play uh, here. So let's move to the next slide. Then there are workforce apps also. So as described, you can have multiple application systems which are coming in. Like internally, you can have Workday system, any Salesforce or any other HR systems, which are part of the things. And apart from that, you will have some external IDs. Suppose if you want to uh, combine any other Active Directory, multiple accounts are there in say Azure or Microsoft 365, you want to combine them with the present Active Directory or any other, uh, suppose say Google accounts, or if you're using GCP or AWS. So those active entities, you can integrate that with Azure AD, and you can provide a single sign-on to any of the SaaS applications, which are there, like Microsoft 365 is there, Salesforce is there, and the way I've shown other applications which are available. Or you can have the into multi cloud environment. You can include Oracle or any other cloud environment. You can have a single sign-on coming to play. Apart from that, some of the controllers which you want to give, like if you want them to allow your VPN access, you can use any of the other network controllers and other things. So based on the enterprise requirement, all this can be integrated and managed with a single environment or single Azure or Entra ID. So this helps us in our job of identity management. If you are part of identity management, you can understand the challenges you guys might be facing. If you have to integrate with the additional user, like recently you have seen the acquisition which was completed between Broadcom and VMware. Now think of how they can seamlessly integrate between Broadcom and VMware, how those entities has to be synced, the policies has to be managed. So if you are using a sophisticated identity and access management, it helps you to do the seamless migration and collaboration between two organizations. So similarly, so this becomes like a third party or external identity, and you're bringing in that here and giving the access based on the new policies or other things which come into picture. So you can have your own policies defined, what is required at present, and you continue with that. Or you can, if the new customer is joining in, so you can put them into the customer related policies, what kind of agreements you have and how you can define those, what kind of access you want to give them. So you can have your employees, partners, customers coming in and using various app access within on-prem, whatever you are trying to provide as a service in your organization, or with the third-party apps also. You can have those efficient management of external identities. So if you see how the things are there, what all things come into picture when it becomes the entity management, the things which I have covered, corporate devices, unmanaged devices, these are the identities, human identities which are coming in. And you will have the device inventory which you want to manage. And you want to enforce the organization policy. Additionally, the threat intelligence can be built in. Based on the behavioral aspect of these identities, you can build your policies so that you can make your environment secure. And based on these real-time evolution of the policy, there can be a dynamic policies can be inbuilt, and you can give access to various internal resources like your data, apps, infrastructure, or network. And you can do your own auditing of how the things are happening. You will have the you can have the analytics also built in. You can also see what all things you want to see immediately, and if any threat is there, you can also be notified also. So these kind of things are provided by Microsoft Entra. Parallelly, you can automate also based on how the things comes in, how you can automate. Like I gave you example of recent migration between Broadcom and VMware, how they can automate so that seamlessly all the users between both the groups can combinedly come into one identity and access management group. Let me take you to the some of the demos on the theory from the theoretical part now. Let's move on to the. Let me show you some practical aspect of what is Azure. So hope you are able to see my Azure screen now. So if you, yeah, I will cover some of the questions which are being asked, like any licenses and other things are required for guest login. So if you see my screen, or it will be clear when I explain you the Microsoft Entra ID. So this is my Microsoft's Azure account, and you can see what all things I've used. So this is where Microsoft Entra ID comes into play. So if I click that, this is where all these are provided as part of Microsoft Entra ID features. So if you are part of Microsoft Azure, you will see this on the left hand side. Uh, these are the labels which you can use, or these are the features which you can use or you can manage. Um, Apart from that, suppose if you are only using Microsoft 365, then also you will get the similar feature. It will come with your own inbuilt Microsoft 365 default directory, and you can see you can manage users, groups, external identities, different administrative users, devices, so on and so forth. You can have your security attributes, licenses, different uh, work items of password reset, or if you want to branding along with your Microsoft identity management, you can do that, so that it will show your logo of your company and other things. So all these can be managed from what you can see on your left hand side. So when you log in, by default, it will have a default directory, and you can have your other domains getting added, like from the example which I took, Broadcom to VMware, you can have broadcom.com and vmware.com as two different domains, and you can add those directories here. You can create those tenants. So the way it works is you will have a tenant wise. You can segregate the IDs into different tenants. So you can have a Broadcom tenant coming in, so that all the Broadcom employees can be part of that group of the tenant or that directory, and then you can add the VMware as additional tenant here, so that if you are having multiple companies managed, you can have them into a single ID management. Like if you look into Reliance Jio, you will see that they have different division. They have a software division. They have a division where the environments are managed. They have JioSavan. They have mobile management as separately. So multiple divisions. So you can see that all these things can be managed using a default using Microsoft Azure by having a separate directories, and then you can have the communication between those different organizations also. Those organizations, what you. So let me go back from here. I can't show you that adding of a tenant because of the licensing issues here. So let me get into the demo of the user management. So if you see if I go on and click on the users, it will show me all the existing users, what I have, whether they are internal members of the directory or they are the guest members. So I have put another ID here, which is the external ID. So this has become a guest user for these identity, this default directory which I have. This is the default ID or this account for which this one it is coming in. So and you can see here the user types, whether they are member of the group or they are from the external members, whether it is on premises. So if you are syncing between two different directories, if something is there on premise and on the cloud, it will show you that it is coming from on premises, yes or no here. And you can have your company names and other things coming into play here. So let me go and add a new user here. So I will show you a create user. So it will give me two different options of creating a user or inviting a external user. So you can have, you can create a new user. You can give the name. It will come with the domain. So if your domain is listed here, it will come with here. Say um, Microsoft.com. So it can come with a new user if you are managing the Microsoft company or your own company. So xyz.com, you can have that company name coming in with that username. So you can derive the nickname from the username. Suppose if I put here the username as Vidushi, so it will come here as a male nickname. So you can derive it, or you can put your own name there, and what kind of display name you can give. So these are the basic things, but there are important things. You can have the password generated, and account is enabled. So you can have the account enabled immediately, or you can defer the account enabled to a new any other date when you want to enable. Because if you know that there are thousands of employees joining your organization, or hundreds of employees joining, and you want to enable them, you want to keep everything ready and give them username and passwords as soon as they join, you can do that by when you want to enable the accounts. You can keep them ready. Important aspect is these are the basic things, but when you come to the properties, this becomes very important. Uh, these are some basics: first name, last name are there. So you can also define whether the users are member or they are the guest users. You can also put the guest user here so that you can differentiate between them. Uh, Authorization info, you can add what kind of authorizations they can have. I'll cover that as part of the roles also. uh, uh, what kind of roles can be provided. You can create your custom roles. Some of these features, what you're putting here, job title, company name, department, this can be used for dynamic access provisioning. So whenever you are putting these details, apart from some of the default which will come from the HR systems or other things, you can integrate that. So you can get those details and you can update that. But some of these things should be correct so that it will help you managing the users in the right way. Like you want to restrict the access for a certain country or for certain city, you can use some of these features which are available here when you want to give a conditional access. So these things becomes very important, like country and region are important aspects. So whenever you are giving, you have to understand like this can be used for any of your security requirement or policy generation. Same thing, uh, you can assign them to a group. You can add a group and or existing group. You can select and assign the user to that group. You can add a role also. So when it comes to role, uh, let me just show you the roles screen separately. So I will show you that separately so that it will help you understanding what kind of roles are available. And there are privileged role and non-privileged roles which you can give it to the user. So after providing this one, you can do a review and create of a for a user. So I'm not saving it. So it is asking me, like, do you want to discard? I said yes. So you have seen when defining this one, some important attributes you have to put there by which you can use those attributes for conditional access or making sure that you can restrict those access the way I defined. Like you want to make sure that because of certain requirement, a person in India should not be having access to some US resources or US database and other things. You can use those attributes in defining those rules here. While creating a users, you can see that You can create the bulk operations also. You can do bulk create. You can do a bulk invite, or you can do a bulk delete also. So if there is a separation between two organizations, you can do that also. You can select and do that. There are different rules and other things are set. When you delete, it will still be there, but only access will be removed. Same thing, you can create and define when you want to do that, from which date and all that. So this is where you can manage all your users. These are the audit logs. You can see who has come in, what they have done. So you can filter those audit logs also. You can see the sign-in logs also from last 7 days, or from last whatever days you want to put. You can see those, and any other problems you want to solve, you can see that. There are other things you can do. Deleted users, which are the deleted user, any password reset, or any bulk operation results. Once you upload, once you do a bulk creation, what all things have happened here. So you can use this screen for from that perspective. So let me show you the roles and administration part, which I said that there are different types of roles. So if you see here, these are all inbuilt roles which are there. You can create a new custom role also, but I will not be taking this one. I'm just sharing with you what all the roles are available, and the description of these roles are there. This is important item, the privileged. So these roles are administrator roles, different kind of administrative roles for the Microsoft Azure. It is showing me here because I have used Microsoft Azure Entra ID. So if the user is what kind of role you want to provide, you can give one role or multiple roles, application administrator or developer, or if you want to just add one role for the authentication administrator, you can have. So these are all administrative roles which are privileged roles. So when there are privileged roles, you can always have them multi-factor authentication enabled for all the privileged roles. And you may be having just read-only roles also for some people. So you can use those kind of roles, or you can create your own roles. Like can read and manage. They can just only read and manage configurations and reports of this Entra ID. Or these people are just going to do only analytics of desktops. So different kind of roles which are available, and you can use them while providing. So once the authentication is done, till you give the authorization to perform any role, they will not be able to do anything once they come into the cloud. If they log in, they will not be able to do anything. Only they can just see the screen. But with the privileges, what you are giving them, the least privileges has to be given. With that, they can perform that activity only. So you can define the minimal privileges which are required and apply those privileges. Uh, so let me come to the groups part of it. So you can group the users, you can group them into administrator, or if they are developers, testers, different kind of groups you can do, or senior executives. You can create a different group, provide them a different role also. So you can do that. So you can, when you come to the groups, there are two types of groups which are there here. One is security group and one is Microsoft 365 group. Microsoft 365 is for if you want to add them to a Microsoft 365 licensing. So then you can use the group. Otherwise, you can always use the security group. You can give the name and description, and you can assign the role also. Directly, if the person is, if you are adding them to a group, they will get this role also, along with whatever privileges you want to give. And so they will become member of that group. So you can create the groups here by new group. You can download and manage also. You can do your auditing also offline, or you have to validate whether they are right or wrong, or you want to manage them. So you can use the groups also in that fashion. If you have deleted any groups, you can see those also. Any issues, whatever is happening, you can see that. there are different settings you can provide into this from the setting window. Importantly, this is the privilege identity management. So this is where it becomes important. Whenever you are assigning different roles or different groups, if they have privilege identity, you can manage them using this privilege identity management. So I've covered users. Similarly, you can define, you can have external identities, and you can manage those external identities also here. Let me take you to another important aspect of which is part of Microsoft Entra. You can have your different application integrations also coming to a picture. So you can have like the way I have put here. These are the two applications which are integrated. So you can have any of the applications which you want to integrate. You can select them. You can have the URLs, all the policies defined. Some of these features are available directly by which you can integrate any other application seamlessly into your Microsoft Entra. So it becomes very easy for you to manage anything. Or if you want to manage any endpoints, it will share those details also. What kind of endpoints you want to manage, how you can take them or integrate them when you're doing a app registrations. So then there can be enterprise applications also. If you want to integrate with the enterprise applications, the SaaS providers, as I said, this is what the screen I have shown you. So it provides inbuilt details. You have to just configure them, and then it will give you uh, the details, or it will integrate with the your Microsoft Entra Azure. Like here, Salesforce. If I select Salesforce, it will ask you for URL. You have to provide different steps. It will allow you to integrate with that. Similarly, if you have another account of AWS, you want to integrate with that, you can put those details, configure them, and it will share the details of what kind of things you can do, and then you can always configure that directly here. So Intra ID provides you integrating with the enterprise applications, your internal applications. That's where I was showing you the endpoints of those internal applications. You can do that. It can be on-prem, it can be in cloud, or it can be in a different cloud. You can do that seamless integration of the applications. So these are the different features of Intra IDs. You can see the licensing also. Uh, at present, we are using free trial. With the P1 and P2, there are two types of licenses. You can purchase those licenses, and with that, you can manage multiple. You can have a complete features of Intra ID. Um, Here you can see there is one more item, devices. As I was saying, devices, you can have the company provided devices can be managed, or you can have external devices coming in. So you can have, I have put my laptop here to manage here, but you can have a third party devices also can be managed from here. So, or if you are having any other devices which are there in the environment, you want to manage them, you can have those also. Uh, you can bring them here also. So these are the various aspect of Intra ID, and the security aspects of those also is part of. There is very good security built in. A complete course is there on how the securities can be used and how you can do that. And you can see the multi-factor authentication the way I've shown you what all features are available. So what multi-factor authentications can be used and how you can define them also. So let me pause here, and so that we can have enough time to do the question and answer sessions. So let me take it to the next slide. Abhishek, you want to take Abhishek?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Sarda, for your invaluable insights on technology. I'm sure it was certainly a very informative session for all of you. If you guys are interested in learning more about Microsoft Azure AD, Entra ID, do check out our super discounted batches of virtual instructor-led trainings on our website, springpeople.com. These VILT trainings are leveraged online from the comforts of your home and flexible as per your schedule and location. If you do not find any suitable batches, we would be happy to discuss and schedule private batches for you. If you don't have time to join live online, then do try out our affordable self-paced courses. For more information, do write to us at training@springpeople.com or call on our number displayed on the current slide. Now we will open the forum to answer questions that we have received during the session. So let's get our questions answered. Over to you, Mr. Sarda.
Hey, thanks for sharing that. So let me just look at how do we sync users from on-prem to multi-cloud environment. So I believe I have shared that, but let me just share my screen back. 1 second, I'll show you. So you can have your on-prem and other user syncs using Azure AD Connect. So this provides you that feature of connecting the syncing the users between the on-prem and other to your Azure. So yeah, you can do that in multi-cloud environment also. There also it provides certain APIs you can integrate. The way I have shown you the AWS and Google Cloud integrations, you can have both sync and single sign-on can be enabled there also. So it can be done in multi-cloud environment. Let me go to the next question. Yeah, the roles which are there, yes, it is part of Entra ID. You are right. This question was from whom? Okay. Yes, the roles are there for Entra ID. They can be managed for Entra ID. The other question is if we can, if we have to manage the access to specific data of application that Entra ID app is securing, do we have an option of Entra ID provides permission or access framework? So yes, as I showed you, you can manage your on-prem applications, and the endpoints are also can be managed. You can also have which endpoints can be configured, and you can define your custom roles and provide those access. What kind of access has to be provided? You can use that framework of Entra ID to do that. Yeah. There is a question on a cyber incident and phishing attack. If that happens, does it happen using Microsoft EDR and XDR solution? There are multiple ways of achieving it. It depends on how we are managing your environment. So if you are using, there is a separate built-in feature apart from this is for identity management. You can always do that from a security point of view. You can define those policies and manage your identities based on your different policies when you want to block the users and all that. That you can achieve. But environment management, when the phishing attack and other thing happens, there are multiple layers of security you have to build in. Just only one way it will not help. Identities and other things, you can put the policies like multi-factor authentication doesn't allow or block the users after three unsuccessful attempts of password. Multiple ways of achieving that is there. Similarly, it is applied for different your APIs also, or from your other devices also. If those it is coming from various other devices, or if they are manipulated, yes, you can achieve that in a different way. So we had those many questions. I think we are on dot time. Anything additional things, guys? Thanks for listening to me. Thanks for your time sharing your sharing the questions. Over to you, Abhishek.
Thank you, everyone. Due to time constraint, we are ending the current session. We appreciate you being here, and we shall be sending out the webinar recording to all you participants soon. I request you to kindly provide feedback before signing off, which will help us improve the quality of our future events.
Yeah, I believe it is part of it is preparatory for the certification. Certification has to be done separately. I think that is what the course is. I think that was for SC 300 course.
Thank you all for joining us today. Signing off on behalf of Team SpringPeople. Hope to see you again for our next expert webinar. Till then, thank you and bye.